Hi guys, welcome back to Ask a Lawyer channel. Hope you are having a great day. Today, I'm back with 4 new stories for you, with lots of family drama. Let's go to the first one. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't be shy to leave a comment. I'm hoping you can help me. My dear husband and I have been trying to have a baby for over a year. It's been a struggle. No pregnancies. We are working with our doctors, and it's been incredibly painful. I know many people struggle, and a year is a short time, but we are learning to come to terms with our bodies being ducky. It's a struggle. When we started this process, we talked in depth as a couple about keeping our desire to start a family mostly to ourselves. I told a friend of mine, he told a friend of his, and we kept it from family who prod too much into our affairs. We did not expect it to take this long, let alone how painful it would be. We've survived months and even a year apart, military, and all sorts of family BS. But it's so hard to deal with something you have no control over, body betraying you. Well, I was on the phone with my little sister, LS. She was talking about kids and how they decided, her and her dear husband, that they were not going to have kids for 2 years. They were working on building a pole barn and changing jobs, and they are still fairly young. I asked if she was sure she wasn't going to start a family anytime soon. She said, "Hell yeah, I don't need that stress right now." So I'm bursting to tell her our struggle. I just want someone to talk to who understands our crazy family. I wanted someone to care. So I tell her. Within minutes of me telling her, she starts to say stuff like, "Oh, my heart aches for you. Maybe dear husband and I should start a family." Then, "What? Why would you do that?" So I calmly ask why. She says, "If it's taking you guys a year, it will probably take us that long too." I start to tell her no, that's not how this works. She could end up pregnant immediately, and she shouldn't try unless she wants a baby right now. She ignores me and keeps going on and on about trying for a baby. I'm almost in tears, so I get off the phone. Fast forward 2 months. I get a call from little sister. So I wanted to tell you in person, but since I'm telling mom and dad tomorrow, and I know this is hard on you, I wanted you to know before I said anything. At this point, my ducking heart is in my chest. I'm pregnant. Isn't that amazing? Who knew it would happen so fast? My heart aches for you, and I'm sorry. I know you're probably upset, but I want you to be happy for us. I forced myself through the phone call. I told her I was excited, even though I was dying inside. I got off the phone and cried for 2 days. My mother found out about everything, and now she wants me to reconcile with little sister. I don't know how to handle this. Who used someone else's pain as a jumping point to do the exact thing that is causing someone pain? Especially when it's supposed to be someone you love and support. Dear husband has been nothing but incredibly supportive and loving through this. He told me it was okay. It was longer than we planned on keeping this, and it's normal that I want to look for support. He's ducking amazing. I'm asking what to do here. I'm asking if I'm overly sensitive. I'm asking if I'm right in being pissed the duck off. I just feel so defeated here. Help! To be honest, guys, I don't think sister did it to be malicious. That doesn't make sense. Although OP may be upset seeing someone else carry a pregnancy, it isn't okay to be mad at her sister for it. It sounds like sister was planning on kids anyway and just changed her timeline. I guess when she heard about OP's issues, it changed her perspective. I don't think it's about OP. She just realized it might not be as easy as she thought, and her priorities shifted. My brother-in-law is the golden child, so his high school sweetheart could do no wrong, and mother-in-law loved her while hating me. This girlfriend cheated on brother-in-law with dear husband's best friend, got an STD, got pregnant, and had an abortion. Brother-in-law was devastated, utterly heartbroken and depressed. But mother-in-law still loved the now ex-girlfriend and gushed about her, even knowing everything that had happened. All these years later, mother-in-law keeps photos of ex-girlfriend and talks about her fondly. Oh, and dear husband's a-hole friend remained someone mother-in-law loved as well, a little more than was appropriate. The girlfriend was gone, years passed, and brother-in-law met and married a teen mom who had a 2-year-old daughter. I specify because he literally married a teenager. Mother-in-law was a huge fan of sister-in-law even before she met her in person. They lived across the country. Mother-in-law and sister-in-law had long talks on the phone late into the night, instant best buds, with so much in common. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law then had a son and moved home to be closer to family. So I met sister-in-law when I was 8 months pregnant with young son. I was very wary of sister-in-law at first, knowing that she and mother-in-law were fast friends, and I had to assume I was a favorite topic of discussion. Sister-in-law and I quickly warmed to each other though, and soon she was spending almost every afternoon at my house, and our kids were happy little cousins. One day, sister-in-law said to me, "After everything mother-in-law said about you, I really expected you to be different." Right? I knew it! Now, I did my level best to not speak ill of mother-in-law to my new sister-in-law because I knew it would get back to her. But I also knew that mother-in-law would reveal her true self to sister-in-law eventually. So I would smile and nod when sister-in-law sang her praises. It didn't take long for sister-in-law to get miffed about something mother-in-law had said. And then all she talked about was how horrible she was, and we really bonded over our shared experience with having a mother-in-law. Fast forward about a year. Sister-in-law called me out of the blue and said she wanted to divorce brother-in-law. She had good reason, and I'd witnessed his crappiness myself on multiple occasions. So, as close as sister-in-law and I had become, I stood with her and supported her through it. I honestly couldn't in good conscience encourage her to stick it out. So when she asked if she and the kids could come stay with us, I said yes. What had started as a cry for help quickly became a license for sister-in-law to start sleeping around. The first guy she ducked, she actually had him meet her at the apartment that sister-in-law and brother-in-law shared, and afterward, she excitedly told me that they had ducked in the marriage bed and bragged that I didn't clean the sheets, so he slept in it. She was so busy ducking this guy that she forgot to pick up her kid from school, and the school called mother-in-law to come get her. And then sister-in-law ducked my other brother-in-law. Yep, and it wasn't a one-time thing. She loved bragging to me about her conquests. Back to mother-in-law's part in this. Once sister-in-law was caught and all was out on the table, sister-in-law was seen as a victim. Somehow manipulated by me, the SG, into sleeping with other brother-in-law who dear husband and I have always been closest with. The insane story arose that I had actively encouraged their relationship and pushed it to happen, as if I had so much power or the desire to do so. Sister-in-law can do no wrong. Dear husband and I took the side of brother-in-law, who was part of the affair for many reasons I won't get into, because this is long enough already. But because of that choice, we haven't had any contact with brother-in-law and sister-in-law, who stayed together, and their kids for 3 years now. No contact was put in place by them. We've tried to reach out to no avail. Mother-in-law thinks the blame should be placed squarely on the head of other brother-in-law, not her son by blood. Sister-in-law is blameless in her eyes. Mother-in-law and sister-in-law went back to being best friends, and once again, I am a favorite topic of discussion. Mother-in-law will always side with any woman who is not me. I have never, in the 11 years I've known him, done anything to hurt my dear husband in any way. I'm a loving wife to her oldest son, but in her eyes, I am the trash. Wow, so sister-in-law was sleeping around and that's OP's fault. That's just crazy. In my opinion, it is so disrespectful for your kids to be siding with women who hurt them. Why should you praise a woman who broke your son's heart? You know, there is a saying, 2 peas in a pod. I think that's the perfect definition for mother-in-law and sister-in-law. It's good that OP decided to go no contact with that family. She doesn't need people like that in her life, and the drama that comes with them. I have 4 weeks until this baby comes out, and y'all, I am ready. Every single thing is stressing me out right now. I have been actively avoiding everyone, except for my spouse, because I just can't stand to be around people right now. This, of course, doesn't stop people from reaching out to me. I get it. You're excited for your new nibbling grandkid. I'm excited too, for my baby. I feel like this is the exact right time to be real selfish and focus on myself, my spouse, and our new baby. Call me crazy. My sister, on the other hand, doesn't seem to think that having a baby is going to be that big of a deal for me. Awesome. A little bit of background. She's almost 3 years older than me. Until about a year ago, we were both on the same track with our own life goals. I'm married, a homeowner, and trying to get pregnant. She was finishing her master's, just bought a house, and got engaged to a wonderful person. Fantastic. We talked all the time. I got along great with her fiancé, and the relationship with our dad was getting so much better. Then she met someone else, and things went too far. Suddenly, she's breaking off her engagement, moving out of the house, almost 100% of which had been paid for by her, and spent the last of her savings on a new apartment. I've been trying to be open-minded, guys. I really have. I met her significant other earlier this summer, and my sister seemed happy. Good for her. I didn't worry too much about her life choices because I was pregnant and cranky and dealing with a lot. I figured this new significant other would be around for a while. Maybe they'd get engaged. Maybe they'd get married. Maybe this was the one. Ease into it. Take it slow. Nope. They got engaged in August. Seriously. They have not even been officially dating a year, and now they're engaged. I'm seriously trying to be a good sister. Let her make her own choices. I expressed my concerns to her and her new fiancé. Hey, remember that the last time you were engaged, you cheated and left and jumped right into something else really quickly? Just think about that for a minute before you get your hopes up. But they assured me they were happy and this is what they wanted. Okay. At least don't get married until I have this baby, please. It's important to me to be at your wedding. You're my only sister. No problem, she says. We're actually planning to get married in December. No, not next December, this December. A 4-month engagement after less than a year-long relationship that started as an affair. Am I absolutely losing it? Is this normal? I can't understand who came up with the BS idea. So I kindly pointed out to my sister that my baby will only be 2 months old, and there's no way in hell that I'll be able to travel halfway across the country for a wedding that you just absolutely have to have right then. No problem, she says. I'm accommodating. I'll come to you. I don't want to stress you out. Great, that's awesome. The last thing I need is stress. So, can we stay at your house? And also, can you find us a place to get married? And we want to get married the day before Christmas Eve, and you'll need to host us for Christmas. And also, my significant other's parents, because they're coming too. And why is it such a big deal that we're intruding on your baby's first Christmas? We're all a family here. Are you ducking kidding? Sis, you're crazy if you think I'm bending over backwards 2 months after I pop out a kid just to make you happy. We finally agreed that I was doing nothing but showing up and offering my house up for a Christmas Eve brunch, which my dad and his fiancée have graciously offered to pay for, thank God. And sorry, significant other's parents are not invited because I don't want strangers around my 2-month-old baby. Don't even get me started on her ridiculous expectations of spending the entire day before my induction with me, without my spouse, at my house helping me prep. I know how I'm prepping for my induction. It involves me, my spouse, and our bedroom. No spectators, please. But that story is for another time. That's insane. OP's sister is expecting OP to plan and host her wedding, only 2 months after squeezing out a baby. Seriously, not okay. The last thing OP needs is additional stress. OP needs to be firm about her boundaries with her sister. It really looks like OP's sister is in a rush, maybe even trying to compete with OP. But OP doesn't need to cater to her unrealistic, selfish whims. OP needs to stand up for herself and her baby. OP's sister has no right to make such unfair demands of OP. OP should not let her push her into anything she is not comfortable with. In predicting the likely success of a marriage, short courtships and short engagements aren't necessarily bad, but add those factors to cheating on her fiancé, walking away from a house she paid for, blowing up her life, and burning through her finances, all in rapid succession. And you've got yourself a clear picture of someone who is making impulsive and poor choices. My dear husband and I were together for 2 years before we decided to get married. We were so happy and excited. We decided on a small wedding on Halloween and actually had about 3 weeks to plan everything. With the help of my family, we got everything all planned out. My mom was a big help in keeping my stress level down. The only thing we really had to plan was what everyone was wearing and who was going to be in the bridal party. My dear husband had only 2 guy friends who would make the trip out of state for our wedding, so we settled on 2 groomsmen, 2 bridesmaids, and then my maid of honor, who was my sister. Before I picked my cousins for bridesmaids, my dear husband's younger sister was asked if she wanted to be one. She didn't seem too interested in it and declined, so I chose my cousins. This is important for later. Flash forward to a week before the wedding, and I'm on the phone with my just-know mother-in-law, and she brings up the idea of wearing her wedding dress to my wedding. I very politely shut that down, and she plays off about how she is just joking. I felt a little uneasy and just continued the conversation. At that point, she told me that they were not coming until the day of the wedding, so they wouldn't be a part of the rehearsal breakfast. They lived in Florida at the time, so that was understandable. I told them that would be fine. We would miss them at the rehearsal, but we were glad they would be at the wedding. We finished the conversation and hung up. Flash forward to a few days before the wedding. I get a phone call from mother-in-law saying that sister-in-law was upset because she wasn't included in the wedding. I reminded her that I was told she didn't want it, and then told her it was too late. There were no more bridesmaid spots. She actually tells me that I should tell my sister that she can't be the maid of honor anymore, so that sister-in-law, who I have only met twice at this point, could be my maid of honor. I shut that crap down real quick, but I told her that if sister-in-law could find a dress that matched the color scheme, she could bring us the rings. That way, she could still be a part of everything. Mother-in-law says that she will tell sister-in-law and hangs up. Later that night, dear husband gets a call from father-in-law. He tells dear husband that they decided they are going to come up to their property that we are staying at before the wedding because dear husband isn't allowed to get married until all of his property that father-in-law's brother signed over to dear husband is in father-in-law's name. OP is just going to divorce him and take it from him. Y'all, I was livid. I said some choice words to my husband, and he of course tried to rug sweep, because at the time he was very much in the fog. He ended up doing as they asked. They came to Tennessee 2 days before the wedding and got everything done the day before we were leaving. They said that they still wouldn't be there until the day of the wedding, and that they would miss the rehearsal breakfast, because they didn't want to pay for a hotel. Whatever. We tell them that we will see them at the wedding and then go to bed, as we are leaving very early the next morning. Everything else was okay, until the wedding day. The in-laws did come down the night before without telling us, and then later I found out they were upset they hadn't been included in the rehearsal, which took place earlier that morning. The in-laws get to the venue an hour or so before the wedding, and everyone is running behind. My mom is preparing food, I'm trying to get ready, and him suit pants and dresses. Everything is chaos. My mother-in-law and great-mother-in-law do actually go and help my mom, and I was extremely grateful for that. I don't know where my father-in-law was. We get everything done by the skin of our teeth and are getting ready to start the ceremony. I'm getting ready to start walking down the aisle when my bridesmaids tell me that there is a situation. Guys, my in-laws were trying to get my dear husband in a car to leave because they knew he didn't want to marry me. I was forcing him into this. I start freaking out, and my bridesmaids tell me the groomsmen handled it and everything was fine. We get married and everything goes smoothly, thank God. We are whisked away for pictures and stuff, and I guess in-laws are throwing a pity party or something because they change out of their clothes and start to leave. Dear husband stops them and asks where they are going, and they told him he seemed busy, and they assumed he didn't want them there anymore. Dear husband validates father-in-law so that they will take pictures. They stay for 1, maybe 2 pictures, and then leave before we even throw the bouquet or anything. To this day, all I can remember from my wedding day is being stressed and his parents pulling their shenanigans. They have done worse stuff than this, but this was a good starting point, I figured. To be honest, I don't understand why they didn't tell in-laws to leave after they tried to put OP's fiancé in the car to prevent him from marrying OP. I would have told them to just get out after that and would never want to see them again. I hope OP and her husband are no contact with them.